Hi, everyone. I'm Vincent Joe.
Hi, I'm Kathy Reed.
And I'm Allison Reed.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
Hi, I'm Grace.
We're from the Haydenettes.
I am Mark Henretti.
Ciao a tutti, siamo Rebecca Ghirardi
e Filippo Ambrosini
e vi diamo il benvenuto a
This Week in Skating.
Welcome to This Week in Skating, the weekly podcast bringing you the latest news from the world of figure skating. Here are your hosts, Daphne, Gina, and Matteo.
Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of our podcast from the Olympics. Matteo is still in Milan, and I am still not in Milan. But we are coming to a close. We have one more event to go. We will kick off today the women's short program, and then there's a day off, and then the women's free skate is on Thursday, and then, with just the exception of the gala, the 2026 Milano Cortina figure skating events will come to a close.
It's too fast. I cannot believe we're getting there already. It's not. No. Can I do something more?
I know. I said how fast it went while I was there. I thought it was going to be a little bit, go a little slower, but oh well. But we need to talk about the pairs. What a pairs event it was. Though I'm going to say, Matteo, I was a little nervous after Sunday's pair short program. I thought I packed all the negative energy, all the negative vibes in my suitcase when I left Milan. And when I watched that short program on Sunday, I was like, what happened? Did I leave it in Milan? Because I could have sworn I made sure I packed it with me. So, that short program was not what I was expecting, but everything was much better in the free skate, and we have a new Olympic pairs champions. For the first time, Japan has a pairs Olympic champions. Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kiara of Japan won the event by just shy of 10 points. They came up from 5th place to take the gold. And I think, was it you, Matteo, or was it Daphne, in our text thread mentioned this is the second event where somebody who was in 5th after the short program won the gold medal. We know that happened in the men's event with Mikhail Shidorov. He was in 5th. He came up and won the gold in the men's event. Silver went to Georgia's Anastasia Meltakina and Luka Brulava, and Germany's Minerva Fabian Hasse and Nikita Volodin took the bronze. They were the leaders after the short program. But I will say the skate of the free skate for me was Riku and Ryuichi. Oh my God, did they deliver?
You should have been there. It was, I don't know how much you got on TV, but it was pure magic in the venue. They did so well from a technical point of view. We know that their speed is probably twice as faster than anyone else. They're just incredible. But they also, I felt like they brought their heart to the ice when they were skating. They literally got there saying, this is our moment. We are going to do all we need to do to make it happen. And wow, at the end, I told you I was missing you next to me because I was next to Japanese journalists that were also crying like I was doing, because a strong emotional moment where you see them achieving their dream. And we know how much that means for them. I mean, they've been phenomenal in these 4 years leading to the Olympic Games. And, it's your one chance. We know what happened with Ilya. It's not to be taken for granted that you're the best in the field and you win at the Olympics, because it's such a different field from everything else. But luckily, they with the levers, they were on that leader's chair for quite a while, actually, because we know that, they were the last skater in the third group, so the one before the last group. They got in the leader's chair, and then they saw the Hungarians, and then the Canadians, and then the Georgians, and then finally the Germans, and they were still there in the leader's chair. And when the scores came up, do you remember they were almost shocked? They were there. They didn't know what to think, and I can say that they were. I don't know how to explain that, but they were emotional, but they were happy at the same time. You could see the happiness so much afterwards in the mix zone and in the press conference. They were doing little jumps. There was a lot of laughter here. Big smiles. I feel like they went through so much in terms of the emotional spectrum that they explored, from finishing such a good free skate to becoming the Olympic champion and realizing that in their own head. Plus, as you said, making history for Japan, because it's the first pairs medal in the Winter Olympics history for Japan. And wow, really fantastic. I can only say wow. I probably said 25 wows so far, but that's what it was. It was wow.
Yeah, it was. And watching from home, I was like, that was an Olympic gold medal performance. And I know we still had 4 teams to go at that point. And don't worry, Matteo, though I wasn't next to you crying, I was crying here at home. So I was crying with you in spirit. I'm sorry I just wasn't next to you to do so. But it definitely brought me to tears, and seeing Ryuichi crying, I was so happy for them. And Bruno Marcotte, their coach, basically told them, it's not over yet after the short program. And we say it all the time. You can't win the event with just the short program. That's why we have 2 programs. And so I was so happy for them that they put aside that short program where they came down early off that lift and had that mistake. And then they just came back. It was like a brand new Riku and Ryuichi out there. And it was so refreshing to see him skate so well and have that Olympic performance for sure. And then our silver medalists was Anastasia Metlakina and Luka Brulava. They were in second after the short program, so they just kind of stayed in that second medals position. For them, I thought they had more mistakes than they normally do. We've seen them be like really perfect, and then we've seen them have these mistakes here or there. Like earlier this season, a lot of the mistakes they were having were with the lifts. And this week, it was more with the throws. She was having these step outs in the throws. So, they have that mentality of being really determined, and we've heard it in so many interviews she's done, she was wanting gold. And so they came close to that gold, winning silver. And I have to say, among the 3 teams, there was just this great camaraderie and sportsmanship.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, Matteo, you can talk more about that because you were there, and I'm only seeing it based on what the camera is showing. But everyone was congratulating everybody else. It really just felt like a really good atmosphere.
Yeah, that's something that I'm also working on for Iceland.com, where I'm reflecting on Olympians supporting Olympians, because one of the key spirits and values of the Olympic Games is fraternity, and you can definitely live and breathe it here. As you said, all these pair teams were there. It didn't seem like there was rivalry between them. It's more like we are here to do our best, whatever happens, and we are all living this same magical experience. So let's just support each other, hug each other. Also, there are so many skaters that are now done with their competitions, and they were all there in the audience. I mean, we know Team Deek was there supporting girlfriend Sarah Conti, and he had this very funny Matador dress in the short program, and yesterday was there with Olivia Smart and Jean-Luc Baker next to him. But also the Germans, Jennifer Janssen van Rensburg and Benjamin were there, and they were they had this giant inflated pretzel that they they had there to support the Germans. So this is showing how much the Olympics unite rather than divide. And I think that this is also something that goes beyond the Olympic Games, though, because is it not something that Ilya said? So he says, you think that because we are competing against each other, we are enemies, so to speak, but we're not. We're actually all here. We believe in the same dream and we support each other. And that's exactly what we saw yesterday. The amount of hugs, even Anastasia and Luca hugging Riku and Ryuichi, they had longer hugs, and then Anastasia hugs Ryuichi, and then she goes back to Riku again. And I thought that's so sweet. Well done.
Yeah, I get that figure skating seems to have this camaraderie. We saw it at the U.S. Championships with the Blade Angels, who will be taking the ice later today. That's Amber Glenn, Isabel Levito, and Alyssa Liu. So I'm not surprised by this at all, that we're seeing these scenes at the Olympic Games. It's just so refreshing. It makes me love the sport even more, because you're not seeing the divisiveness between teams and skaters. I'm sure, everybody wants to beat everybody else, but you're not seeing that out in the open. So I'm enjoying seeing these scenes play out in Milan.
Can I also add, when it comes to the Georgians, I want to go back to the fact that it's a historic medal for them. It's the first time Georgia medals at the Winter Olympic Games, I understand. So it's a huge significance. And I can only imagine what type of pressure they had on their shoulders, because we know Georgia was there fighting for the team event bronze medal and did not succeed to do that. So the fact that they actually got this medal is quite a success for Team Georgia and the Georgian Olympic Federation. But also, I feel like both Luca and Anastasia, but particularly Anastasia, she, to me, looks like a new Alyona Sashenko, meaning that she's got that fire. You can look at her and she's out there and she's like, I am here to win. I'm here to show you what I'm worth. And I don't think we're going to see them leaving the field soon. I think that they will want to come back to the next Olympic Games and actually be a threat for a gold medal again.
Yeah, I know Daphne and I were kind of talking, and I think you were in the text thread. Will they go to Junior Worlds? Because they are still eligible to go to Junior Worlds. And I'm wondering, just because we saw them in previous seasons competing both on junior and senior, will they do Junior Worlds and Worlds? Part of me thinks they may just do that because she is just so determined, and she's just got that fire within her. As you said, she reminds of Elena Sovchenko. So I don't know, could we see them in Junior Worlds as Olympic silver medalists? Should they be at Junior Worlds? Probably not, but
Yeah.
I mean, that it's a possibility. They are still age eligible. I have to say about the Germans, Minerva, Fabian Hasse, and Nikita Volodin, they, in my opinion, saved the short program. I think I said it. That was the skate of the short program, because they came out and delivered a really good skate, to take a lead. They had, like a 5-point lead after the short program. Of course, they had mistakes in the free that pushed them down to the bronze medal spot. But for me, that they were the highlight of the short. It was just unfortunate they weren't able to have that same skate in the free skate.
Correct, yeah. I feel like, we said it before between us, but the short program was interesting because the first two groups were pretty good. And then you get to, to the big names out there and you're like, oh. I think Daphne said something like, is anyone willing to win these Olympic Games? Which,
she did.
It's a funny way to just say, hello, stop making these mistakes. And luckily, as you said, the Germans went in and they were like, boom, 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 we'll do it. And I was actually quite pleased for them, because we know this season has not been very easy, particularly from Minerva's side. I think she had mistakes that she was not usually making. I remember when I saw them at the Grand Prix of Finland, she was saying, I'm making mistakes I don't usually make, and I'm planning not to make them again this season. But that even Euros were not, perfect for them. But to come here to deliver that short program, get that advantage, and then get out in the free as well, being the last one skating in the free, knowing that there is pressure to win. Interestingly, in the mix zone, they were asked, did you know about the result, particularly of the result of the Japanese couple? And Minerva said, no, I had no idea what anyone did before we got out for the free program. But Nikita admitted that actually he knew what happened with the Japanese. But I think, they did, luckily they managed to still get to the podium. But what I want to try to say here is the Japanese did so well in their delivery that the Georgians and the Germans had to have the skate of their lives to exceed their personal best by a margin to win against Japanese, because the Japanese really had a huge skate there. So that's a testament to how strong they are currently in the field. And also, let's not forget the Hungarians. What did I keep saying throughout the entire season? Keep your eyes on Maria Pavlova and Alexei Sviatchenko. And man, they had the skate of their life. At some point, I was like, oh my gosh, my intuition that they might be medaling could be true, because look, they got so close to it. They were really, really close to the podium. They had 215 combined points total, and the Germans got 219. So they were just there. And this is a phenomenal result for the two of them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you were right about them all season. And they were so close. Just less than 4 points. They actually had the third best free skate. So, watch out for them. I'm guessing they're going to continue beyond the Olympics and be into next season. So we could be seeing them as world medalists later this season. We could see them, who knows? But yeah, they were very impressive I thought in both programs, really. I thought maybe the free skate definitely bet more than the short, but I kind of had a feeling they would probably be just outside of the medalists. In fifth place was Sui and Han, and I was a little surprised that they were in fifth place. Just because they had mistakes on the side-by-side jumps.
Yeah.
In both programs. So they finished fifth. I'm guessing this is their last go of, I don't know if they're going to go to Worlds. Matteo, did you hear anything?
So it seems like I was not in the mix zone, but it seems like they said that this was their last competition. If that's the case, then they literally came back to go to the Olympics again and leave. Well done for a fifth place. Overall, they're still legends because, they achieved their Olympic gold medal 4 years ago and they're still top of their game. But I do agree with you that compared to other skaters, maybe they brought some technical elements that I could not appreciate as much, not being that incredibly technical about it. But I thought they were not that exceptional compared to other teams that were a little below them.
Yeah. I have to mention that we had a really surprise in that final group the final group of the free skate there. We had Canada's Leah Pereira and Trent Michaud. They were in third after the short program. I did not see that coming. I had a feeling that most likely they were not going to medal. But how impressive of a Olympics for them. I mean, they kind of had to step in and do the team event, given Deanna Stiletto-Dudek and Maxime Deschamps withdrawing from that. So they skated twice in the team event. Then they came out and did 2 more skates in the pairs event. a really good short program to be in third. They finished 8th overall, but they should be very proud of how they skated during these Olympics. Definitely, I wasn't expecting them to be, to be in that last group and to have that skate, but we know the other teams struggled, and so that was the reason they were still in that last group. But way to go for them. I'm hoping they are leaving these Olympics feeling very proud and very happy with how they skated during this whole event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of the Canadians, let's talk about Deanna Stiletto-Dudek and Maxime Deschamps. We weren't sure what was going to happen with them, if they were going to be able to compete. And of course, they did compete. Short program, she had the mistake coming out of the lift. It was really weird. I think they clipped blades is what it looked like. They were 14th after the short program. Finished 11th overall, 9th in the free skate, but as so determined as Deanna is, and we know Deanna wanted a medal, I think given the situation with the fact that they were injured coming into these games and they had to miss the team event, I think just being on Olympic ice was enough for Deanna. And she was sobbing, I think, after the skate. She's such an inspiration. So I was glad they got their Olympic moment. Wasn't maybe what they wanted it to be, given that they are 2024 world champions. They probably, if she was 100% healthy and they did not have that injury, could they have been in the medal contention? 100%. And she would have wanted that medal, let me tell you. But I think just being on Olympic ice was enough for her.
Yeah, and sorry, just a quick thing. If you hear a bit of background noise, I'm sorry, but I'm in a space with other people, so just apologizing about it. But totally agree with you. We know that the way she was coming into these Olympics, so it's incredibly inspirational for them to have been here and to have achieved what they achieved. Given not just the physical pressure, but also the mental pressure to approach the Olympics like that. Can I also mention as well, I think we're going to probably mention another two National Olympic Committees, and I'm going to talk about the Italian one. So Sara Conti and Nicolò Macci ended in 6th place. They were 8th after the short program and had the 6th best free skate of the day. And I felt like, they still get out of this competition victorious because they have a bronze medal from the team event. But it was nice for them to get there, to close these. And as I mentioned before, I think it was a very sweet moment with witness Team Deek supporting Sarah as much as he did from the audience. And I felt like Rebecca Ghilardi and Filippo Ambrosini also had an incredibly moving moment. So they were 12th at the end overall. And we know that their season, if not the last 2 years, to be absolutely honest, were incredibly difficult. They kept making mistakes they could not get away from. It seems like they were almost facing a mental block. But to see them skate so well at the Olympics in Milan was incredibly moving. They had a huge reaction, as much as Sarah and Nicolò. Filippo was in tears. So well done to the two of them. Actually, they both were in tears. Well done to the two of them, and I wish them the best of luck because, perhaps this is going to be the last season. So we'll see if we have an official announcement coming out at some point soon.
Yeah. And I want to go back to Sarah and Nicolò there. Given if she wasn't injured, could they have been contenders for a medal? Absolutely. I think we've been saying that all along. Yep. And the fact that they had to miss Europeans, it kind of made that less likely that they were going to win an individual medal. But again, as you said, they're going home as Olympic bronze medalists. They didn't do that bad out there, of course, but it would have been a whole lot different, again, with some of these teams that had some of these injuries right before these Olympics, that it hindered their possibility of being Olympic medalists in the individual event.
Just to give everyone an idea, they took 223.28 points in the Grand Prix final. And that's an indication that if they were skating at the same level here, they would have been the silver medalist. Mm-hmm. Just as an example. So potential was there, definitely. Yeah, but definitely. It's the Olympics, it's life, things happen. And as I said, still have a very important medal to leave the Olympics with.
Yeah. And I have to now mention the Team USA teams, Emily Chan and Spencer Akira Howe. They finished 7th overall. They had a really good free skate. They were 7th in the free skate. So, great Olympics for them to have a top 10 finish. And their teammates also had a top 10 finish. Ellie Cam and Danny O'Shea finished 9th. They were 7th after the short program. They finished 12th in the free skate. I had said that Ellie was landing her throws and her side-by-side jumps at the Olympics. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen in the free skate. But they should be incredibly happy and proud of their Olympic performances. I mean, they contributed so much to that team event with that dynamic free skate that they had, that I said was the highlight for me of the pairs event in the team event. Unfortunately, we're not able to replicate that. It's a long Olympics. There were days off in between, but to think about it, you're competing 4 times in a short span of time. I mean, look at our Grand Prix. Unless you have back-to-back Grand Prix, you're not competing 2 weekends in a row. You've got maybe a week off in between or something, or you may have the first event and the very last event, and so you've got a few weeks in between. This is different in the sense that there's a lot going on. So you're constantly going, whether you're at a practice, whether you're competing, whether you're doing some media stint somewhere, or you're hanging out with Snoop Dogg. It's a lot going on in such a span of time. So I'm sure these athletes who participated in the team event or who have been there from the beginning of the Olympics are getting tired. And so it'll be interesting to see how our women do today, and then again on Thursday. Some of these women have been there since the beginning. They participated in the team event. Others are just came within the past few days. I know Luna Hendricks was one of them. She has not been in Milan since the beginning, so it'll be just interesting to see. But it is, as we said, it's going by quickly, but it's a long time to be not at your home rink, to be not on a normal schedule that you would have, to be training it, in a different place. It's a lot for these athletes. And for some who've competed multiple times, I'm sure the exhaustion has come into place.
Yes, it's well, that's why it happens once every 4 years, isn't it? Because otherwise it would be quite unsustainable for these poor people to deal with it. But can I maybe wrap up things with the pairs just by adding a couple of comments about the event in general and the discipline as well? So the first thing I want to say is there was a time after the last Winter Olympic Games where people were saying pairs are boring, pairs are dying, it's a discipline that doesn't have interesting teams anymore. I hope you are all saying the opposite thing now. This event was fantastic. The audience was full. There was no assumption that, oh, it's pairs, it's not going to fill up the seats. It was full again. The cheers were the loudest. Gina will remember the team event had the loudest cheers when we were there. I think the pairs were close to it. Everyone was rooting for each one of these single teams. It was amazing. So I'm really glad they were witnessing this, and I hope that we continue to see very strong skates going forward. I think teams will continue to push themselves, and we can see, it's difficult anyway. It's not something that is free of difficulty and risk. So, of course, there are teams that will try to be cautious, teams that will try to go full in, but we still have a lot of entertainment from the pairs, and I cannot wait to see what Worlds will bring and the next seasons will bring.
Exactly. So I won't keep you much longer, Matteo, because I know you got to get going because we have a jam-packed women's event later today with 29 teams or 29 skaters competing. 24 will make it to the free skate, but we've got 5 groups of women that will be taking the ice later today. Some taking the ice for the very first time. I mean, we haven't seen these skaters yet. A lot of these skaters yet, because either they did not participate in the team event or their country was not in the team event. But of course, that final group, we've got in there Alyssa Liu, who we did see in the short program of the team event. Isabel Levito, who has been there since the beginning, she will finally have her opportunity to take Olympic ice. We have Anastasia Gubanova, who we did see in the team event for Georgia. Kaori Sakamoto is competing in her final Olympics. I'm sure, Matteo, I know I'm not going to be next to you, but there will be tears today when I'm watching. I have to probably shut my office door because I don't want anybody from work to come in and seeing me crying. We have Amber Glenn. We did see her in the team event. We have Monet Chiba of Japan. We have not seen Monet Chiba and Ami Nakai of Japan yet, so that'll be interesting to see them. I mentioned Luna Hendricks of Belgium. Nina Petrokina, the European champion, will be taking the ice for the first time. There is a lot of great names, a lot of great skaters to be watching. Of course, we do have 2 athletes that are individual neutral athletes. They will be kicking the things off in the women's short program. So it's going to be an interesting event. I can't believe, though, we are at the last event. So women's short program today. Thursday is the women's free skate. Then, Matteo, you're off back to London. And the Olympics comes to a close with the exception of the gala. It's just crazy. We were looking forward to this for so long, and now it's like almost done. I can't believe it.
Yeah, and it's truly a fantastic experience. I mean, one does realize, we were talking about their energy levels. Our energy levels are also incredibly low because, you left and you're back and you got to work and you were telling me that you have a bit of jet lag to deal with, but I'm still here. Is this day 12 of non-stop consecutive skating media, traveling to place A, B, C, and of course, you're in Milan, you try to do everything that you can, the cauldron. I still want to go to the Olympic Village, which I didn't have a chance to do before I arrived because you could go to the media day, but I was actually flying to Milan when that happens. But I have to say, yesterday, I got so tired that I had to force myself to go back to the flat and have a nap of an hour to then go back and luckily enjoy the pairs full of energy. That's how much it takes out of you, such an event. But would I want to be anywhere else? No. Absolutely. Keep me here. Give me another 2 weeks. Exhaust me to death. I don't care. I want to be here.
Fly me back to Milan. That's where I want to be. Instead of getting ready to start a work day, my first work day in, 2 weeks, basically. So, yeah, I would love to go back. I'd love to do it all over again. I was the crazy one. When you said you took a nap yesterday, I was the crazy one that went to the rink. And let me tell you, that did not go as well as I plan. When you try to
Oh,
spin,
you didn't have an
and
Olympic moment.
no Olympic moment. When you're trying to spin and you're dizzy and you're tired, it just doesn't work. I'm sure the athletes can attest to that. But no, so it wasn't the greatest. But yes, I did have a little jet lag this morning. I was awake at 1 a.m. going, oh, it's time to start the day. And I'm like, no, it's not 7 in the morning. It's not what time I was getting up when I was in Milan. So, all right, I'm going to let you go, Matteo. We are going to, I think the next time we record, we're going to bring in Daphne and we're going to wrap it all up. I mean, we'll talk about the women and I think we're going to do it. You'll be back in London. I think that was the plan.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
This is our last time recording with you in Milan. I know.
Okay, well, that's I think my conclusive contribution. It's a sigh of no, this cannot be over, and I think I've got we got something going on, isn't it? So I have to say something in Italian.
One more time you have to say it in Italian.
So I'm going to say buona competizione delle donne, which means happy women's competition.
Sounds good. We will talk to you later.
Ciao.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of This Week in Skating. Remember, you can keep up with us throughout the week by visiting our website at www.thisweekinskating.com. Connect with us on social media for additional updates. You can find us on Twitter at This Week in Skating without the E's, or Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at This Week in Skating. You got a burning question or feedback for Gina, Daphne, or Matteo? Reach out to us via social media or drop us an email at thisweekinskating@gmail.com. And if you're really enjoying the show and want to support us further, consider joining our Patreon community at patreon.com/thisweekinskating. Until next time, have a nice week.